Hello and good afternoon, good morning, wherever you're listening from me today. We are in someplace cool today. Don't worry if you can't see me. If you're just looking at the back of my head, I won't mind, because we are in this cool podcasting booth here at a place called the Coop, and it is in Hurricane, West Virginia. And I'm here with Wes, and I was wanting to talk to Wes here. He is the proprietor here, and just kind of get an idea of what was going on. So before I get any further, first and foremost, the first thing I always ask everybody, Wes, what's your hustle?
What's my hustle? Anything exciting, really, truthfully.
I should say Wes Wyrick. I didn't say your last name.
No, that's okay. That's okay.
Wes Wyrick, so you can make sure you look him up.
So, no, my hustle is, well, first of all, it's helping people. That's my hustle, right? In whatever avenue I can. So I have a passion for serving less than fortunate, those that feel like they've been treated as second class, third class citizens. That's who I kind of flock to the most. I've been blessed to be providing in the real estate world for a long time, providing mortgages and just taking care of people. So, but now our latest adventure is here at the Coop workspace, building something cool, unique, and different for our state, I feel, and getting that idea out there on cool ways to connect people, entrepreneurs, sales folks, small businesses, up-and-comers, and providing a cool workspace where they can come, get a little bit of work done, but also grow some long-lasting relationships that's going to help them prosper their business going forward.
Yeah, I gotta say, I can tell you without a doubt, I've never seen a place quite like this. This is a really cool space, and you've got like lots of technology. Everything's like managed through an app. You can come and go. It's kind of like, it kind of reminds me of when they first came out with those Anytime Fitness type of gyms. Yep. That was a big deal because if you wanted to go work out at 2 o'clock in the morning, you could. So it seems like you're bringing that here, but you've got conference rooms, you got a podcasting booth here, you got all the equipment here. So if somebody wanted to launch a podcast, they could do it for right here.
Yep.
And it looks to me like, and you tell me if this is your target, but like it looks to me it's for people that have like side hustles, or maybe they're trying to get that full-time hustle, trying to get out of the 9 to 5 routine. They can't afford, nobody can afford commercial real estate right now. So they're looking for somewhere to work, somewhere to bring clients, somewhere to get some things done outside of the house. Is that what you've got going on here?
Yes. A little bit of all of that, right? So the co-working spaces is something Julia and I have utilized ourselves. We travel a lot, coach nationally in the real estate world, and when we're in different cities, we jump into spaces like this and we'll work for the day. We'll get a day pass and work for the day. We really enjoyed it, and like when we were coming up with this idea, I was needing a space for my mortgage office anyways, right? So why not create a space for my mortgage office, but also have a collective space for other like-minded people also. So that's ultimately what it is geared towards. We brought back the things that we liked about all the facilities that we used and packaged it together for what seemed to make sense for West Virginia, but also with the price points that was complementary to West Virginia too, because some of these spaces were a little pricey, but our goal isn't to make a lot of money from this co-working space. Our goal is to get like-minded people in the same building, because we treat it as not just a co-work, but almost also a community and a culture that goes along with it, right?
Yeah.
There's something that works in my business. You and I are in two different worlds, but there's something that works in my business. You might not even thought it could work in yours unless you and I sit down and have a conversation. Ultimately, getting people here, having those conversations, networking in a different way, we'll just make our community better as a whole.
I've seen that, like, if you look at anything like in academia or, especially in the sciences, usually these big kind of explosions that happen is when different disciplines, kind of get together and they kind of live in their own little world, but then when they overlap, that's when things change, right?
Yeah.
Now, you said you've ran into this, you would rent out places like this in other towns. Are these types of spaces pretty common throughout the U.S.?
You'll see them in all the bigger towns, right? And then our goal was to have one here. I mean, I know we've had other co-working spaces in the area, but we kind of like wanted to do ours just a little bit different. We do have, like you mentioned, we have office spaces that folks can be have a 12-month membership for an office space, because we've seen exactly what you described. A lot of the teams for businesses have actually downsized to just a few or 3 or 4 different people, so that the need for a huge commercial space, the overhead, the cost of utilities, electric, internet, printing services, all that with a 2 to 3 year lease with a large deposit doesn't make sense for everybody anymore, right? So we do have some office spaces. We have flex memberships where folks can just drop in and use all the desks that we have available in the area. We have a common spot back in the back where folks can just hang out, socialize, network, and have a lot of fun. But podcast studio, smaller boardroom, classroom setting, an office space for folks that can just reserve an office for an hour, right? And you and I were talking off air, like, walking into a coffee shop, I won't say names, walking into a coffee shop or a sandwich shop and sitting down and actually somebody's conducting an interview right beside you, right?
Right.
And you don't need to do that anymore. There's a space here that you can reserve for an hour. I've had a fellow reserve it for a day just to knock out interviews for a whole day. So
yeah, well, that's a great idea, and you never know. I mean, and all of the doors you seem to have done. I mean, you can see on the walls here. You've got there's a podcast studio, so you've got these the noise foam and stuff like that. But it looks like all of the rooms have been treated for sound and all that kind of stuff. You've got some calling booths here that reminds me of the old days when we had phone booths and stuff.
Yep.
So people can go in there if they're making calls. That's what we had. I've worked in places that have the kind of the open office thing, and that was always the thing that used to drive everybody crazy, is when you'd need to get on a long call.
Yep.
And you wouldn't have anywhere to do that. So you've got all that. So you've really thought this through, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, thank you. We worked on it for a while. Like you said, we built a lot of back-end technology. I mean, we bought the building, I think it's over February of 2022 is when we closed on it. So we built it out for almost a year before we actually opened the doors on it, because I had an idea and I wanted to bring that idea exactly to life. The technologies, I mean, I showed you earlier where you can reserve a room, walk up, and it's showing on the tablet that this room is reserved by who and for how long. That's really cool. Everything's done through the app. You can talk to other members through the app. We run specials through the app. It's a cool, different co-working space, social platform, all that in one.
Very cool. So to switch gears, though, obviously you say you just opened this in the last few years. So you've been up to some other things, but before getting into the co-working space. So what have you spent most of your career on?
So I've been in the mortgage industry for a while. I actually got my first banking job in the bank world at the age of 19. So I worked all through the banking system, and then I transitioned into retail lending back in 2015. So I went from banking into retail. Most recently, retail has always been good to us, right? Because it gives us more of that competitive edge and having a name to kind of lean on, things like that. But with changing times and interest rates getting a little bit higher, it made sense to try to build something better for our buyers, especially here locally. So transitioned, left our retail lending job, and started my own mortgage company here in West Virginia.
Yeah, tell me a little bit about that, because starting your own mortgage company isn't a very common thing, is it?
It's not. And it's not an easy thing. It's not a fun thing, really. But it's something we've been working on kind of behind the scenes for about 3 or 4 months. A lot of red tape, a lot of legality things you have to go through. But we're there. We launched about 3 weeks ago. The market's been really receptive. We're excited about it because by us eliminating the retail margin that we have to pay in the retail world, we're able to eliminate that, pass that savings on to the buyer. So typically you'll see our interest rates far more competitive than our peers. Our closing costs slightly more competitive than our peers. It's just because we don't have to make that much off of it to cover it. We don't have to put our name on it. You won't see our mortgage company name on a stadium. You might see it on your little league school fence, but you won't see it on a stadium. And who pays for that? Ultimately, the consumer pays for that, right? So we're really passionate about it. The other exciting part is it's West Virginia people helping West Virginia people, right? We live here. We take care of the people that we live with. The money that is made through this business stays in our state to help develop our state, prosper our state. Instead of being pumped out to California, Texas, Milwaukee, South Carolina, it all stays right here. So we're really excited about it. And everybody's been super supportive. So thank you, everybody, whoever's watching, that's been reaching out to us and been super supportive. We've been helping a lot of people so far in just the short 3 weeks that we started this.
What's the name of your lending?
REfōcus Mortgage.
REfōcus Mortgage. Okay,
Yep.
and how can people find that?
REfōcusMortgage.com. You can email me at wes@refocusmtg.com. And but we're also all the social platforms. We got it.
You got it covered.
We turned it all on before we hit start. So
just search for REfōcus Mortgage. It'll definitely come up. So tell me, you say you're focusing on West Virginia. There's you're making that your primary target, your primary audience. Is there a difference between the mortgage world in West Virginia and Texas?
There is. Every state's got a little bit different. Actually, Texas is a very comparable state to West Virginia, depending on where you're at. Yeah. So but in West Virginia, there's
probably not Austin.
Well, not Austin, but Longview, Texas. Yes, it is. So one of my good friends and coaches is in Longview, Texas. But No, it's, I mean, we primarily West Virginia, obviously start with. We're going to be Tri-State, Kentucky, Ohio, all that's in the works. It's coming to life right now. We'll bleed into states that make sense for us to be a part of, but ultimately we want to help here first, right? There's a lot of cool, exciting programs that's out there for folks here, right? A lot of folks don't know that our state, over 97% of our state geographically qualifies for a really cool loan called the USDA loan. USDA is really exciting because there's no money down, right? So the options like that, right? And the team and I, we've been in dig mode. So the cool thing about being built the way that we are, we can add options, add investors, add lenders to our panel that we choose, right? It gives us the control, right? When it comes to the pricing, the rates, and things like that, it's pretty exciting to be in control of that.
Yeah,
so,
bet.
as much as I can, right?
Right.
So, but yeah, it's really exciting, and West Virginia's to start. Ohio and Kentucky is complementary to us, but you're not going to see us spread all over the whole country, right? We're
Right.
hyper-focused.
That's cool. That's cool. Well, I'll tell you what, buddy, we're about ready to hit our time.
Sure.
So I'm curious. I always ask everybody, you know, what kind of advice do you give people that are out there hustling, people that maybe they've got a side hustle that they're trying to turn to a full-time hustle. Maybe they've got a full-time hustle, but they're not quite making as much money as they would like to. I know you've done a lot of coaching and stuff like that. What kind of general advice can you give to people?
Eliminate a lot of your fears. This is the market to win. This is the market if you go all in and you build right now, when this market shifts and transitions into where it's supposed to be, the guys that are going into the labs and doing the work right now on their businesses are the ones that are going to prosper later. So this is an awesome market. Surround yourself by like-minded people, right? Eliminated the negative people. So anybody that's going to say you can't do it, you need to eliminate that noise and surround yourself with folks that's like, hey, you can do it. Let me share with you my experience. I've experienced something in my life. All my friends know this story. Like, I call it the dummy tax. It was actually something that was shared to me by one of my coaches before. The dummy tax. If I pay the dummy tax and I learn from it, and whether it worked or not, you shouldn't have to pay the dummy tax because I've already paid it for you, right? If I tell you what worked for me, what didn't work for me, that's helping you out. I pay the dummy tax so you don't have to, right? Be around people like that, right? And eliminate the fear. Go all in. Go on.
I was talking to some younger folks last night, and the thing that I tell a lot of people is, and you know, especially young people, they seem to have a little bit of a hard time with this. Is if you see somebody that's successful, ask them how they did it, and they'll usually tell you. Most of them aren't jerks. Most of them aren't going to blow you off. If you say, "How in the world did you do this?" most of them will answer that question,
yes.
right?
Yeah, because you're not saying give it to me, you're saying show it to me, right?
Yeah.
There's so many people that come up to us and be like, hey, like, I want to do what you do. Just, can I come work, whatever? Like, no, like, it's, if you're coming up and saying, hey, can you spend some time, folks in it for the right reasons crave that, right?
Right.
Like, anybody that's wanting to better themselves and reaches out to me, whether I know them, didn't know them, or whatever, I want to see them win, right?
Right. And if you say to them, meet me here tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. and we'll get started, and you show up at 8 a.m., then they're going to invest in you, right?
Yeah, I'll tell you what, if there's something you want to learn, go find somebody that's doing it really good and offer, either say, hey, can I pay you to teach me? Can I hire you as a coach, or can I work for you for free? Because that person will change your life.
Yeah, absolutely. Wes, I really appreciate it. Thanks for coming on today.
Yeah,
and,
man, thanks for coming out to the Coop, and we really appreciate it.
Be sure to check out the Coop. It's a really cool place. Check it out and check out REfōcus. And until next time, everybody, bye-bye for now.
Bye.